10x. This is the one that you probably hear the most if you work at Google, and it's the one that when I started out there felt like the most corporate jargon to me. It felt ridiculous. It was our CEO and our founder. He basically said, everything we do, we should ask ourselves how to 10x it. How can we make 10 times more money this year? That product you're making, how can you make it 10 times better, 10 times faster, or 10 times more efficient? He said that businesses for millennia have been run on the idea of marginal gains, on 10% growth. How do we do this 10% better? And in our new world of technology, where people are literally inventing new industries, the only way to grow by leaps and bounds, the only way to prepare your business for the next 10 years or 20 years is to start by thinking 10x. The example we used to give is that it takes about 4 hours to get from Washington, D.C. to New York. About 4 hours, 240 minutes. Let's say you worked in the transportation industry. You're Honda, you make cars. You're Amtrak, you run trains. Or you're Google Maps, and you do maps, mapping software, GPSs. And I'm your boss, and I come to you and I say, it takes 240 minutes to get from DC to New York. I want to cut 24 minutes off that. If we could get people 10% faster, I think that would make us more money next year. I think that would be really good for our business. Go brainstorm that with your team and come back to me with ideas. If you're at Honda, you go to the drawing board and you say, okay, we need to make an Accord that goes 10% faster. We need a Honda that doesn't need to stop for gas as often, because we need to get there without as many stops. If you're at Amtrak, you build a train that goes 10% faster, or you come up with a way to do stops quicker. If you're Google Maps, I guess you find a quicker route. Now imagine that boss came to you and said, listen, I know this sounds challenging. I know this is going to take time. I know this might not be something we can do. But go imagine a world in which we could get there 10 times faster. I don't want to cut 24 minutes off. I want it to take 24 minutes. What would it have to look like? What's the world in which that's possible? Go brainstorm that and come back to me. Now you're at Honda and you say, okay, well, this car is going to have to go like 1,000 miles per hour, 500 miles per hour. Well, it can't do that because there's other cars on the road. They would crash. There'd be traffic. It wouldn't work. Well, unless the cars were above the other cars, unless there was no traffic. And now we're inventing flying cars. If I'm Amtrak, well, this train would have to go so fast, it would be unsafe unless it was on a different type of rail. And that's how we start building Hyperloop trains like Elon Musk is doing in Texas and California. Or that's one day how, no joke, someone will start to brainstorm on how to build teleporters. Because they'll be trying to think about how do we do this 10 times better. Inevitably, in most cases, you'll end up falling back on smaller ideals. You'll end up falling back on 10% growth. But if you don't ask that initial question, if you don't challenge people to dream big, you will never come up with these ideas. Because you'll stop when you hit the Accord that goes 10% faster. You'll stop there. So start crazy, start 10x.